President Donald Trump told reporters everywhere he goes the American people are for Judge Brett Kavanaugh, and he believes Kavanaugh will be confirmed. One of the three women accusing Kavanaugh is backtracking on some of her claims. Here with more is Robert Donachie with the Washington Examiner. Robert, thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
First of all, what is the latest with Julie Swetnick and an NBC interview?
So as we know, Swetnick is the third accuser of Supreme Court Justice Brett Kavanaugh. She claims to have seen Kavanaugh and his friend Mark Judge spike the punch at high school parties in the early 1980s in order to get women inebriated to the point that they can't say no, a very damning claim. Now, last night in an NBC interview, she walked that back, saying that she never really directly saw Kavanaugh actually put anything in the punch, just that she was around the bowl. And so that walk back is actually causing some people to question whether or not her story is valid.
Do you think the FBI will still interview her?
I think that, the White House has given a pretty broad mandate to the FBI so long as they can meet the quick, expedited 1-week FBI investigation. And as Trump said yesterday, they can interview just about everybody they want. One important thing to note is that this investigation was launched last Friday in order to get to the bottom of Ford's allegations, not necessarily Swetnick's or the other accusers.
Do you think the investigation will go fast and there will be a vote this week?
Well, so I think, the writing's on the wall here. Mitch McConnell has said that he wants the vote to come this week. It's backed up by Republican leadership, and the president wants the quick, expedited investigation and a close to this. I think really what you have to focus on is McConnell is really focused on three people: Murkowski, Collins, and Flake. And so I'd say that at any time that he has 2 out of the 3 of them locked down, we will see a vote as quickly as possible.
What are your thoughts about the president's statements today that the American people, wherever he goes, they are for Judge Brett Kavanaugh? Your thoughts on that?
Well, I think conservatives and conservative groups have been behind Brett Kavanaugh 100%. I think that many people who see Brett Kavanaugh as an accomplished judge, as somebody who's a conservative stalwart and somebody that would push forth their agenda on the Supreme Court are not, I guess, detoured at all in their support for him by these allegations. Now, if the allegations came forth with some kind of evidence that these truly did happen rather than kind of the he said, she said that we're seeing right now, maybe you'll see that back off. But in the conversations I've had with conservative groups, conservatives and Republicans, it doesn't seem like they've lost any of their, gumption for Kavanaugh at this point.
What about the other side of the aisle? Any chance maybe some independents coming out in support of Kavanaugh?
I think time will tell at that fact. I mean, I'd say right now you probably have about 50 senators on the Republican side, are close to 49 to 50. So again, it's going to all come down to Collins, Murkowski, and Flake.
Okay, well, let's talk about an article you've written for the Examiner tying the outcome of this confirmation and the November elections.
Mm-hmm. All right, so I spoke with conservative Republican strategists and I spoke with Democratic strategists over the past 5 days regarding actually how does this play out in the midterms. Now, the ubiquitous stance on Republicans and the Democratic side is that Republicans in Congress will face serious blowback, could possibly lose both chambers of Congress if they don't get Kavanaugh through this week or next week. Now, I've got a couple conservative strategists who told me that, Republicans shouldn't even bother to show up to work on November 7th if they can't get this done. I think the overarching message I got from Democrats is that you couldn't even write an article about how many mistakes that Republicans made along this process, that you would need to write a book, that they feel that, Republicans once again alienated women in this process. They did so when questioning Ford. They did so basically, throughout this entire time. So what I do see is that, Republicans have a real shot here that if they can't get Kavanaugh through, they could really lose the House and possibly the Senate.
All right, Robert Donachie with the Washington Examiner. Thanks for your insight, sir.
Thanks for having me.